Assalamu alaikum. Welcome. Come on in the room. DeLeon, Ashra, welcome. Where you from? Hickman 48, where are you from? Samantha Muhammad 7, where are you from? Solomon the First, where are you from? My apologies, I'm late. I know I said 4 o'clock. I've been in some strategy meetings today, just working on some stuff. And I got started a little late because I just needed to clear myself so that I can review all the things that I was working on with clients and then just create strategies and talking points. So DeLeon said, I live in Charlotte. All right. I've been hearing a lot of good things about Charlotte. A lot of good things. There's a few conferences that I know of coming up in Charlotte, and I think I might attend some. So you all asked me I told you all I was coming back today at 4 o'clock. You all wanted me to talk a little bit about healthcare and about the health and wellness market and that whole industry. So we'll give people a few minutes to come in, but we'll do that. Let me know where y'all coming in from. I like to know where people are from. It just kind of helps me to put my mind where they are and live a little bit vicariously through you guys. Yeah, so come on in. I'm coming up on my spiritual holiday Saturday, and so I'm excited about that. September 9th is the day that I got my ex, so I'm very, very, very excited about that. Okay, so I guess the rest of y'all don't want to tell me where y'all from. Okay, so the healthcare industry. Let me know if you guys have any specific questions that you have about the healthcare industry. I'll start off a little bit general. I made some notes here. Let's see, somebody just texted me. Oh, Sister Mariam K. Muhammad, founder of Heal Thy Life Center, is going to be on the Munir Muhammad show Wednesday, today, September 6th, from 6 to 7 p.m. So y'all can tune in to that. And if you go on Facebook or YouTube, it's at Crow TV, CROE TV. All right, so good stuff there. Let's post that and let everybody know that our sister is going to be on there today. Yeah, let me know in the chat if you have any specific things you want to say or want to ask me about the healthcare industry. Okay, we got that posted for Brother Mandine and Sister Mariam. Okay, any specific questions, let me know. So the healthcare industry is worth $808 billion in the United States, and that was as of 2021. 65% of the industry's revenue comes from patient care. Okay, $808 billion. That's a lot of money. Okay, and a lot of us who are, not eating to live or have, genetic issues are making up the bulk of those patients that all of that money is being made off of. And there's a need because of lifestyle and diet for hospitals around the world. I just got a call about somebody trying to build a huge hospital in Africa. And, we were just kind of going over and talking about that. And then I got a text from another friend about another hospital in Africa. Africa suffers from a lot of medical tourism because they don't have the facilities. I think it's somewhere around 60% of the people actually fly somewhere else, like London or Dubai or India or even China, Sweden even, to go and get their healthcare needs. So that's a big bleed on the country when everybody's leaving. I guess the airline industry is doing well, but there's no health care there, at least not enough to address the population. And there's pockets in the world where there's lots of centurions or people who live to be at least 100, like is it Okasaki, Japan, the little island part in there in Japan. They have a high population of people to live to be 100 years old. A lot of that has to do with lifestyle, right? And if you, I didn't bring my Supreme Wisdom book in here with me, but if you look at our lessons, and it goes into the problem book about how the wife of the uncle's wife couldn't walk up the block. I'm paraphrasing right now because I don't want to get into a whole lesson conversation with you all, but basically it shares information about what we describe in the vascular healthcare world as intermittent claudication. So if you're walking and you can't make it a block without having pain in your leg or shortness of breath, and you have to stop, that's called oftentimes intermittent claudication. And it's a sign of vascular disease in the lower extremities. So that's one of the questions we'll ask you is, can you walk, and how far can you walk before you start to have, a lot of times it'll be pain in your calf or thigh or even in your buttock. But I don't think it would have been mentioned in the lessons if it wasn't a big deal. Black people in America, we lose, or prior to the pandemic, prior to COVID, we were losing 100,000 people a year to cardiovascular related illnesses. That means diabetes, risk factors like diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, being overweight, and being a smoker. And in the vascular world, about 60 to 70% of our patients smoke cigarettes and other stuff. Okay. So we call that the pandemic before the pandemic. Okay. And when it's described in our lessons and it starts asking how much breath that person is taking up, and it starts asking why this person can't walk up the block, a lot of our minds go straight to, well, she must have been overweight. Very much possibly so, but she also could just have had, not just, but could have vascular disease or cardiovascular disease and be experiencing leg pain because of some claudication in the vessels or whatever. So it's just something to think about, that when the vessels are clogged like that and they begin to try to walk, they identify that pain. So 100,000 Black people per year are lost to cardiovascular related illnesses. Okay. We make up a large part of that $808 billion industry, which is the healthcare industry. It's very scary. It's very difficult to navigate if you know the truth, because you start to see the amount of manipulation that is happening in the industry. So I know you all wanted me to come back and answer some healthcare questions, and I'm talking about the business of healthcare. I don't really want to try to get into diagnoses and stuff like that. This is not medical, or I'm not a doctor or anything like that. But I can answer questions about the industry and the development of the industry. Let me give you another statistic. The health and wellness market size worldwide was estimated at over 4.3 trillion US dollars in 2020. And they anticipate that that's going to increase to almost 7 trillion US dollars by 2025. That's a lot of money. What is that primarily due to? That's primarily due to lack of mobility, processed foods, and the amount of stress and environmental factors that contribute to our poor health. So one of the things that we would tell our patients is that you have to find any excuse to move. Because if you're not moving now in your 30s, when you get ready to go and move in your 40s and 50s, you may find that you're suffering from some of that where you can't make it up the block without your legs hurting. So painting that scenario will help you to understand why not just the pharmaceutical industry, but the healthcare or the health and wellness industry makes so much money. And so when you begin to start your businesses, you have to understand what kind of industry that you're in. And when you see that kind of money flowing in an industry, it's going to give you an idea of what you're dealing with when you decide to step outside the box and open your business. A lot of you have come to me, you're doctors, and you want to make the transition from being in a big box system to a independent system. There's some things that you got to understand, and you have to understand the forces that you're going to be up against, the food that you might be taking out of somebody's mouth that they feel like they need. There's a lot of factors involved that you should make sure that you consider. For those that are healthcare providers or clinicians, whether it's nurse practitioner or a PA or a doctor that says, I'm currently in a big box system and I want to start my own practice, one thing you can do is do what I call bridging. So if you can be credentialed at the hospital and then have your own office and kind of flow patients back and forth, that's an ideal way. And then pretty soon you just kind of steal away and now you're in your business full time. But before you do that, you have your salary at the big box system to supplement your office, because there's a lot of growing pains. Sometimes, it'll be hard to get patients. You have to know how to go out and try to find patients if you're going to break out on your own. But if you can make a deal with the big box system that you're working with, then they become a referral source for patients. And sometimes it's difficult for clinicians to go from being a clinician to looking at that patient like a dollar. But if you don't understand that, then it's going to be very difficult for you to make money in the industry. So for example, you have to know that if you just bust out on your own and you say, I'm just going to start seeing patients, depending on what kind of insurance they have, like making from anywhere from $80 to $250 a patient, means you got to see a lot of patients in order to make a certain amount of money. And I'm not talking about whether or not you do surgery. Surgery is a whole nother profit margin. I mean, there's huge profit margins in surgery. That's different. I'm talking about just, you might be a doctor for women, you might be OB-GYN, you might be a woman's wellness doctor. You might say, well, I want to do wellness for men. You may say, I want to focus on seeing patients for people who are diabetics or people with high blood pressure or rehabilitation or anything like that. You're going to have to make sure that you understand what you're dealing with. If you can bridge and have one foot in both systems, at least at the beginning, that's the easiest. Okay. Then the second easiest way is then going out to insurance companies and seeing if they will credential you and put you on their website as one of their providers and then send you patients. And that oftentimes happens when you do a good job. You have patients go back and give you good reviews and things like that. That can help. And that is, we got to the point where the majority of our referrals were from insurance companies who said, hey, go and see them, because they can tell when you turn in your billing and your notes whether or not you're being excessive or whether or not you're trying to take advantage of the system. So I think in order to not be a predator in healthcare, don't look at going into healthcare and wellness as a get-rich-quick scheme. Even if you feel like you can make a lot of money, because a lot of money is relative, right? I guess when you compare $100, $150 a patient to $20,000, $30,000 a patient if you're doing surgery, sometimes that can be, I mean, it puts things in perspective. But if you feel like $150 a patient is a lot of money and you feel like you can do it, then you can, it's an easy way to map out like and do your projections, right? Like how many patients can you see a day? You have to leave time available to do your notes and to do your billing and all of that kind of stuff to make, it's really critical that your documentation is stellar. So you don't want to book yourself with so many patients that you don't have time to do notes, or so that you end up doing notes at the end of the month and you don't really remember the patient. You want to have your schedule such that at the end of the day, or at least every 48 hours, you can go back over the prior patients and make sure that you review and you can make good, clean, solid notes. And you want to understand what the requirements are of the insurance company when they're paying out, you know, for certain things. So that's just something to consider if you're thinking about branching off on your own. A lot of people are talking about going into what we call in the States the wellness industry, which is separate from the clinical side, but oftentimes the wellness industry includes plastic surgery or cosmetic surgery. Sometimes it includes dermatology. Sometimes it includes any kind of aesthetics that make the target market feel better and you look younger. So the target market for wellness is 35 years and older. So people who either want to preserve their youth or who are already losing their youth, they want to look a little bit younger. So a lot of people are saying, hey, aside from like the plastic and stuff, and a lot of people are saying, well, I want to go into aesthetics. So I want to do skin tightening, I want to do laser hair removal, tattoo removals and things like that. And it's a good, you know, lucrative industry. Some of these medical spas include certain types of stem cell injections or hydrotherapy, hydration therapy, vitamin therapy, massage, like Reiki, as well as like Thai massage. I love a good Thai massage. So, you know, that can also be a decent industry. Now, you all asked me this morning about being a spa owner. And one thing to consider as a spa owner, a lot of people go, well, I really want to get into massages, and massage is great, but there's a nationwide shortage of massage therapists. And it sounds good, and people go, oh, that's good, you know, I'll go into it, but it's hard work. It's labor intensive. There's not enough massage therapists right now to go around. So just about every spa in the country right now has a shortage of massage therapists. Here's the challenge. In order to be a good massage therapist, you really have to kind of have a little bit of not a little bit, but you have to have a healer's intention and mindset. And that's not a skill set that everybody has. Or it becomes very difficult to do for people that you don't love. Let me give you an example. Some of these massage therapists are so good and so into their craft that no matter who walks in the door, they're willing to lay hands on them and heal them. They don't care what condition the person is in, what they look like. They will do everything they can to find those different tension points in the body and help that person to do some body work to heal. For some of us, we may not be willing to lay hands on everybody. And so when it's somebody that comes through the door, if we signed up thinking it was a get rich quick scheme, somebody comes through the door that we ain't really feeling, it's hard to do. And I'll give you an example. I was taking this graduate level business development course, and we had to design a business and do analysis and put all the projections together and present the business and everything. And I created a medical spa. That was my business that I was designing. And we had to also find a way to immerse ourselves in the craft so that we can also write up like a shared experience, because they didn't want us to write it like as an armchair quarterback or from, an elevated space. They wanted us to be in the space. And so I started working with a lot of companies and sampling different skincare items. But then I went to a massage school, and I said, oh, you know what? I'll learn massage. That'll be good. I can learn how to do it. First of all, it's very tiring, like your hands and your body when you're learning the techniques. It is very, very tiring. It's taxing on your body. But I learned some things about myself when I just went through this little internship program in an effort to write this paper to get this graduate certification. I learned that I couldn't just touch and massage anybody. I didn't want to do it. And then when I did, I felt their energy in my hands, and I didn't know how to shake it off. I had to go outside and take a walk in between, because you have to practice on people. And I realized that I didn't want to touch everybody. And I remember saying, well, there's only a couple weeks left in the program. And if I complete the program, that'll look really great for my thesis, and I can include that. And I ended up leaving 2 weeks before. I never got the certification because a man came in and he had a skin disorder. And normally in most professional or corporate spas, they will tell you that if a person has some type of skin disorder or open lesions or something like that, that you're supposed to refuse service. You're supposed to have a questionnaire because it can be infectious to you as well. But this person didn't disclose that. And when that person went, in the room to get ready to have their massage, they had all these open lesions on the back of their back. And I went and got the instructor and I said, I can't do this. And she went in and spoke to him. And I said, you know what? I was only here for this research project. I'm not going to stay. I'm doing you a disservice. I'm doing myself a disservice. And I just realized I like facilitating the service, meaning making sure that people get the service, but I can't be the one to do it with everybody. If there's a person that I love and I care about, I can do it, but I couldn't do it with everybody, and I couldn't absorb the energy. So those kind of people that do that kind of work, whether it's Reiki or massage, and especially those people who do Thai massage that twist and move your body so that they can access that energy, they're incredible people. And so there's a shortage of them. And so there's just not that many of them. So if you're putting together a medical spa, I wouldn't put too much reliance on revenue generated by massage, because you'll be lucky if you can find 1 or 2 therapists to work in your space. And then when they do work in your space, they may not, they may not work long term for 2 reasons. One, because you're going to be limited in what you can pay them, and they probably can make more going on their own. So even though they can make more going on their own, they may not have access to the clientele, and you may own the clientele, but depending on what you charge per session, you just may not be able to pay them a lot because it's going to really impact your margins. So those are just things that you want to think about. You don't want to be too heavy on that kind of stuff. So when you're looking at the services you're going to provide, you want to see what the margins are. What's the margin on massage therapists? I like skincare and I like aesthetic work because there's a lot of add-ons you can do. The margins are really good, and people generally, when they get a facial or some kind of skin treatment, they're going to leave out. And if you have retail supplies, they're going to want to continue that glow or that look, later on when they leave your spa. So you'll be able to upsell them out the door on your skincare products. And you want to make sure that your skincare products, I like to say you have 3 levels. You have your high-end pharmaceutical grade products that are going to be expensive. So I'm talking about $200 night creams and things like that, and $100 serums, $150 serums, but they're pharmaceutical grade. Then you have that middle of the road, which is just above retail. So just above that Walgreens or CVS or that drugstore level, you have that mid-range. And there's all kind of terms for that, but I'm just giving you the layman's terms. And then you have the retail level. So you want those 3 levels of product, but you want them to all be good products. And you want to make sure that you're properly negotiating with your vendors so that you get all the perks and bells and whistles that you should have as a result of carrying their products or services. But the skincare in that dermatology space, even if you have to hire a dermatologist and have a dermatologist on duty along with several estheticians, that's a good way to make money in your medical spa. Because remember, a lot of people's goals when it comes to the wellness industry is that they want to look younger or they want to look better. When you get into the medical side of treatments, whether you're doing stem cell injections, whether you're doing hydration therapy, whether you're doing acupuncture, any of that kind of stuff, again, you want to take a look at your margins. And always remember that people pay for experiences. And so there's a science to how you design the flow of your rooms and how you walk the patient back and how you talk to them. There's a whole science to it that, of course, the client isn't going to be knowing. And in the wellness industry, we don't call our patrons patients. Usually they're clients or guests. Okay, so in healthcare, they're patients, but in the wellness industry, they're going to be guests generally. That's one thing. The other thing that I also wanted to say is that whether you're into healthcare or whether you're into the wellness industry, I think you will create a niche for yourself if you understand the power of hospitality. Whenever I've advised healthcare clients or even in my own former facilities, I made sure that hospitality was a big part of what we were offering. So people are paying for experiences. Okay, you have to remember that. And hospitality is key. And there's a whole science to how you can be hospitable to somebody in the wellness and healthcare space without them knowing that you are actually getting information about it out of them, and without them feeling like you are being hospitable, if that makes sense. So simply checking on a patient who's in a recovery area, going back saying, hi, Mr. Jones, how are you? How are they treating you today? How was your service? And asking some of those questions, almost like when you go to a restaurant and the manager comes over and asks you questions. That's going to give you feedback. And then that gives you an opportunity to correct any mistakes that your staff has made throughout the process of that patient being with you. Whether the patient or the guest tells you directly or not, that gives you a chance to clean it up, because maybe your staff was really busy when they came in the door and your policy of greeting people a certain kind of way wasn't followed. Or maybe they weren't as nice. Maybe your esthetician was just having a bad day. Well, when you come in, very similar, like I said, to the manager at a restaurant, and you are meeting that person on their way out and you're talking to them, and take a little bit of a personal interest. And so as you catch them, as you're walking out of the spa, and you're walking them out of the spa and they're out of the back, you can say things like, so how was your visit today? And you can say, yeah, I don't know if can I interest you in some of our retail products? And you may have a little quick chat with them before you turn them over to your salesperson, who's going to introduce them to some of your retail products. But because you've made them feel good and you've made them cared for, ask them, do you want some tea? Do you want to take any with you? Would you like to just chill in our tranquility room and just regroup until it's time for you to leave? Or if you have to go right away, you're welcome to take some of our herbal tea or the cucumber water with you. Whatever, you're being really nice to them. So what that says to the guest is, I had a good time. I had a good experience. Because remember, in that industry, people are really paying for the experience. And believe it or not, what's really sad in healthcare, people are paying for the experience, whether you pay for it by your insurance or not. Most people are not into their own health care. So when they go to the doctor, they regulate their care to what the insurance company is going to pay for. So if the insurance company says we pay for X, Y, Z, if ABC is wrong with you, then that's all the care they get. Or they tailor their access to care based on what the insurance companies will provide for them, because they don't have a mentality of thinking that there's something beyond what the insurance company could be offering. And a lot of times people are sick as a dog. And if somebody treats them nice and talks to them nicely, and even if they improperly diagnose them, a lot of times they still are going, oh, that's such a nice place. And I just love Jenny at the front desk. And I just love Dr. So-and-so and blah, 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 blah. And they're so happy to be treated nicely that they don't even realize that maybe they're not getting the optimal care. All they know is the insurance company said, this is what I needed. This is what they gave me. I'm happy because they were nice to me. So hospitality is good and it's important. And you want to make sure, because everybody uses it, but you also want to make sure that you back it up by actually doing something about the problem that the person presents to you. I was trained in the healthcare and wellness industry in the surgery sector, where if somebody comes to us and something's wrong, we figure out a solution on what we can do about it. So we want to make sure that we're putting you on the road to healing or looking better or being better or feeling better, whatever it is that you came there for. Okay, so if you all don't have any questions, I told you I was going to go live at 4, and I'm sorry I was late. I just wanted to have that quick one just to answer those questions. I think I did. Of course, you all can always ask me more questions about it on a later basis. Inshallah, I'll go live tomorrow and we'll talk about another industry. But that was just a quick run through on healthcare and hospitality. If you want to book me for consulting, the link is up there in the bio. If you buy one session, I'll give you a session free. If you're a healthcare professional and you want to figure out how to expand your business, you want to figure out how to make more money, you want to take your business from the hustle phase to $1 million exit, I can help you do that. I have receipts. I've done it before. I've seen people do it. I've done it myself. So there's a way and it can be done. But we just have to roll out into a new way of thinking and a new way of doing business. So healthcare professionals, wellness professionals, anybody, click the link in the bio. I can give you some really good hands-on experience and advice in terms of developing your business, patient experiences, negotiating with vendors, finding the right location, how to combine all of those sciences together from your policies and procedures and everything. It's not, I laugh because so many times with many of these industries now, especially with Google, people can Google, how do you start a spa? And they started, but what they're missing is the practical advice that you would get from somebody like me who's been in both of those industries, entrenched as an owner operator and as well as a consultant. So I can help you with that. Healthcare professionals, wellness providers, if you're looking to expand your business, you want to start a business, let me know. Link in the bio, book a session. I'll give you one free. We'll get you on the road to getting your business going. There's also some long-term plans that we can put together to help you as well. All right, but other industries, even other business that we can consult on, click the link in the bio and we can get you set up there. Okay, but that was just my quick blurb. I think the healthcare industry and the wellness industry are great industries for people to go into. I think there's a lack of information out there about how to get into the industry, why you should get into the industry, and how you should move once you get into the industry. Because what you can't do is take the old business models from the big box system that you're coming from and pull them over into your independent system. So you have to be able to sift through some of those and figure out how to make that transition and what policies and procedures come with you, what stay, and what gets tweaked. So there's a science to it, and we can chat about that. But I can definitely help you figure out how to get started, help you find the right location, help you negotiate with the big box you're working with, help you negotiate your vendors, how to get equipment on consignment and things like that, how to get your supplies and stuff like that at a cheaper level, how to shop it around, how to figure out what you need in your electronic system to make your life easier, and help you figure out how to interview and find the right staff. The most difficult thing about staff in healthcare is that because now we attach so much value to, if we have a child, let me say it this way. We have a child and the child says, oh, I want to be a surgeon, or I want to be a brain surgeon, or I want to be a engineer. We get so excited about that. And then the child begins to see the world through how people react to them. And they don't get a chance to get an internship or work in that industry for a little while. And if they do, they kind of they're just very pedestrian as they move through it. And when they become adults and they start interviewing, and they interview with you and your new healthcare or wellness practice, they really ain't about the industry. And so you end up hiring them because they're a brand new, fresh grad, but you don't know what you're getting yourself into, and you end up spending a lot of money recruiting people who don't work out. And I can help you with that. I can help you sift through. You have to find the people that really have a love for this. Really, really do love it. I've seen, and I know people that are such good healthcare providers, they would do it for free, and they're good at it. They're just natural healers. And as soon as they come around you, you feel the healing in the air. And when they provide their services, they're excellent. But there's some people who just did it because it sounded good when they were growing up and they heard it made a lot of money, and they're not interested really in being a doctor, even though they graduated. They're not interested in doing what they got to do to become a surgeon, even though they said it. I want to be a heart surgeon. I want to be a neurosurgeon. I want to be a foot surgeon. They said it, but they ain't really ready. They ain't ready for the fight and what it's going to take to get through It just sounded good at the time. But, I've seen people say, oh, I want to be a nurse, but they get scared when somebody vomits, or they get nervous if somebody goes to the bathroom on themselves, or they pass out at the sight of blood. And you have to know yourself. For me, the blood doesn't bother me as much as smells do. So long before COVID, I used to have this little roller of scented oil, and I would put it right here on my nose, and then I'd put a mask on, because the smells, something about the smell that would just impact me emotionally. But I knew I was never cut out to be a doctor or a surgeon or whatever. I'm the cute wellness industry person. But I had to get in the OR, get in with the patients, get in there and get my hands dirty and my nose, just so that I can figure out how to get the business started and know what to do. So those are things that you have to consider. You have to really consider. Some people just don't even like sick people. And I've met nurses and people who went to school to become a PA or a nurse practitioner, and they don't even like sick people. They like working in a nursing home. So maybe all they have to do is come down there and clean up, pass out some medicines, give them some ice on the floor. Sometimes people, that's as far as they go. Some nurses are so good that they're better than the doctors. So same thing in the wellness industry. So we can sit down and I can teach you how to interview so that you sift through those people who probably really have no business in the industry. Those people can shut your business down because you don't have the deep pockets that the hospital has, where the hospital can afford to go through 3 or 4 people making $150,000 a year, but you may not. Okay. All right. So peace and blessings, family. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. I did it twice in one day. And so we have tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday to go. And I won't stop going live, but I told you I was going live all the way up until September 9th, which is my spiritual birthday. So, all right. Peace and blessings, family. Love you all. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel. You can catch up on past episodes of all the shows and programs that I have out there. And make sure that you follow me on all social media platforms. All right. Peace and blessings, family.